Chapter 4 Baby Bounce January the 7th, 1994. Hello? Is anyone there? Nick called out. His frosted breath made it difficult to be heard. He pounded the door knocker against the great oak door of King's cottage. It echoed inside, but there was no reply. It seemed strange that there was not a doorbell or some device that would swing open the door, maybe even a secret password, but nothing like that presented itself. Nick had guessed the strange world had more to do with it than a strange name. He turned round, still carrying the faded map that was left for him back at the portal. He found it weighed down with a rock and an accompanying note from King. Nick walked a few yards from the ice-covered cottage when Doggy came rushing to him. Another of his kind was trailing behind. "Am I glad to see you? I was worried sick. How did you even get here?" Doggy questioned. "I followed this map. It was a good job, too. I'm sure if I hadn't, I would still be traipsing in those woods." "Who is your friend?" Nick cautiously replied, staring at the stranger. "This is my young brother, Dog. Dog has heard plenty about you. He was helping me look for you." "Hello, Dog," Nick greeted. The youngster stood quietly behind Doggy and did not react. "King isn't home. Sky's missing as well," Nick continued. It was funny, because just then, over the horizon, King came galloping on Sky, with Sconatach and many others in tow. Sky came to a sliding halt just before Doggy and the others. "What's going on, King?" Doggy asked eagerly. "I told you I haven't seen him in 2 months, but he's back." "Nick, have you showed your book to any outsiders?" "Not to anyone who doesn't already know," Nick shakily replied. "Why have you brought outside help?" Doggy looked at the many figures on horses. He did not recognize a single one. "We will make up the core on the fight against evil. A distraction will be advantage, though. Bring your brother and Nick, and let's get going. We've wasted enough time." Nick stuffed his map in the rucksack he wore over his shoulder. The main zip contained the book still carefully marked on the page. Doggy helped Nick on Lightning, whilst Dog jumped on Thunder. Neither was sure where they were heading and what they were in for. It gave some reassurance that King was a hero to many people, always knowing what to do in difficult situations. Doggy wondered if this time it would even be on King's control. The horses picked up their pace as if they could sense the danger and realized how precious time was. King and the others could begin to see the SPF center in the distance, but King kept pushing the horses to go on further. He led them to its neighboring building, the one King had been told about. "I think they may have come back here to the Serpent Research Facility. I was caught in trouble just hours ago." King knew everything, but did little to explain the real purpose of being here. Doggy spoke out amongst them. "It's been so long since you first spoke of this being. I thought you said he doesn't exist." "I was wrong, and this is no ordinary being, but the next strange leader. I will go first." King shone a flashlight in the deserted building. Sparks of electricity flashed in the dim light. Doggy and the others remained outside for the time King spent wandering the rooms. "How much longer can he be? What is he even looking for?" Doggy asked a little anxiously. King returned, and a puzzled look on his face. "It's empty. I could never have guessed it." As King remembered, the place was under attack the other day, and that had been 2 months since the first sighting. It now stood completely deserted. "We needed to be here before their army expanded. It doesn't fit the pattern for there to be any other place of retreat." King looked at the crowds of people he'd brought together. Suddenly, that did not seem to matter so much. "What purpose would they have with this place anyways?" Sconatash spoke up. King was reminded then what the building was actually for. Serpent Research Facility. The snakes. They have been and gone, and with them an army of snakes. King realized the potential of evil this thought held. "Look out!" Nick called out amongst the group. Rattlesnakes had withered their way unbeknownst to others, and they followed in large numbers, their eyes a hypnotizing baby blue color. The snakes looked like they had morphed into some more hideous creature. "Go for the eyes!" King exclaimed. He retrieved a cavalry saber that clipped together on his pants. King and the others began jarring the eyes of the snakes until the creature's battle was lost, and they fled. All a little shaken, King cleared his throat and spoke. "Today marks a great victory, but by no means is this over. I have word of a greater being who might be their ruler. If we work together, we can destroy this evil. I do not wish to look any further. It seems if we wait long enough, they will find us. That makes us a new threat. At least now we know when push comes to shove, we will be ready. Everybody cheered, and King began the long journey home. They would return to the site every few days. Every time they felt closer in understanding their new threat. The human of enormous proportion, as he was described, had not been seen, and King wondered if such a being truly did exist. It was only by the second week on their frequent search when things took a drastic turn. Suddenly, the ground shook violently beneath them. "What was that?" Nick called out. The group stopped their horses, and all fell silent at the strange noise. "Stay close. This is the work of the other. On your guard, men!" King and the others peered through the distant bushes, anything for a sign of the trouble they would soon encounter. The hissing of snakes could be heard, but in the dark it was difficult to make any out. The next time the floor shook, the ground gave way just inches from them. Nick felt his left foot slip and dropped the rucksack, plunging it down the vacant hole. "It's got my book!" Nick shouted. As the evil presence felt nearer, panic began to overwhelm the group, and many fled. It worked like a decoy as the strange leader suddenly appeared, chasing after them. What could only be described as a giant 9-foot baby hurried in their direction. The ground shook as he moved. The hissing of snakes had stopped as well. King guessed. They too followed the others. "Sconatach, you must retrieve that book," King demanded. Sconatach did not hesitate. He slid down the pit of fallen ground, careful not to miss the backpack on his search. King stood looking below while shining a flashlight. "We have minutes before that thing returns." King's voice a distant sound in the pit Sconatach was in. He could feel the shoulder strap and brought it up immediately. "Take the book back, Sconatach. It was a mistake to bring it with us. And be careful not to lose the page," King explained. Sconatach hopped on his horse, carrying the rucksack, and disappeared. "This was a bad idea. I think we should go," Nick declared. King could only agree, and they all left together, just as the strange leader was returning. He gave out a monstrous cry that echoed on the way home. They arrived silent and a little more distressed outside King's home. Sconatach had been waiting there with the book carefully marked. King firstly informed Sconatach, "The others have gone back, and I can only hope that accounts for all of them." Then he turned to Doggy. "I don't want to put this off any longer. My first visit to the SBF Center revealed some unsettling news. Your father was killed by ooze that fateful night at the Prickly Thorn Valley. DNA testing confirmed it. My only wish was to stop this evil before any more lives were harmed." Doggy looked back at King in upset. He believed his father died from the initial fall of the tower, but something else had him thinking. "They never did find my dad's good luck charm." "No, Doggy, but is likely to have dissolved in the process. I'm not so sure. He wore that amulet because it was the one thing that could withstand ooze. He told me so. But what does it matter now? I've known my dad's been dead since last November. When I said I wanted to know how he died, I just wanted some closure. And now I just want a funeral to end this grief. That's very brave of you, Doggy. And when the ground thaws out, I can promise you that. Now I must speak with your mother. You proved to me you were ready for this fight against evil." With that said, King walked Doggy back to his house at 12 Park Lane, a quiet cul-de-sac the Brown family had always preferred. King could remember the tiny house they had named Rothlac that was among two others, very secluded with acres of land out the back. King and Doggy walked up the few steps to the front door. "Doggy, it's been a long day. I think it's best you wait out here, at least until I've spoken with your mother," explained King. Outside, Doggy could only wonder how his mom would take the news. His mother wanted the honest truth more than Doggy, or so he felt. It had been over a month since his father's death. Surely nothing else mattered. Doggy could hear raised voices from within the house. It did not sound like grieving. If it was before, it was replaced with a darker tone now. A few moments later, King returned from the house and stood by Doggy. "Everything's fine. Your mother just wants some time alone. Just give her some space when you come back in," King informed. King began to walk down the steps that led from the front door. Doggy stopped him. "Then what happens now?" "The funeral, next week, Doggy, at 2 p.m. All you have to do is turn up. You should forget this brave act, though. Just carry on with your life, as normal," King answered. He could not look Doggy in the eye, and seemed distant. Doggy knew this was not right. "What about me being ready for the fight, and my ability?" Doggy answered in his confusion. "That doesn't matter now. Everything I said, just forget it. I've tried to be completely honest, and sometimes I think it's just not worth it." King's words, a harsh turn to Doggy's future. King walked on, refusing to look back at his old friend. Why had King said all that? Such a different tone from before. Doggy knew it had something to do with the shouting he'd heard from his house. Maybe then King had not been thinking straight. It would be a long day in the week to follow, but at least it should hold some answers.